Churchville to our winter drawings. For this, you are going to need a white piece of paper. You're going to need a white pastel or a white crayon, as well as your watercolors. You're going to start with your pastel, and basically what we're going to be drawing is the ground line where we want our snow and some dots of snowflakes in the skies. So on a colorful piece of paper, it will look something like this. You can see I have a ground line, I can have my dots. We're gonna be doing this on white because we are gonna be painting over top of it, and we want our pastel or crayon to resist the paint. Now, if your pastel is like mine, you've used it a lot, you might need to clean it first so that your snow actually looks white. To do that, on the back of my paper, I can just color with it a little bit until that red color or that blue color I was using goes away. To start with, I'm gonna figure out where I want my ground line to be. I would not make it very large because you want more sky in this picture than you do ground. So I'm just gonna draw a line. It can be kind of wavy, kind of wiggly, and I know it is hard to see what I am doing with white on white, but it's about 1/3 of the way, like an inch or so up, and my line just kind of comes and goes up and goes back down. Inside, I'm gonna be pushing hard with my pastel to color. And it is okay in this case if you do not see and push hard enough so that you have little white spaces of the pastel. That is okay, because remember, we're gonna be painting over this, and the sky will generally be reflected in the snow as well. So those little white spaces will eventually get colored. Just try your best to cover as much as possible. If you need to, hold your paper still while you get along the edges, and if you get on the table a little bit, it's not the end of the world. You can use a paper towel to clean that up later. For my snow dots, all I'm going to be doing is taking that same little pastel and making little dots, pushing as hard as I can. If you're using crayon, you have to push a little bit harder than the people who are using pastel. You want them to basically be dots, and you want to go all over your sky. Think of this as the falling snow on our first, hopefully, upcoming snowfall day. So the more dots, the more snow you can add. You can always go back in once your paint is dry and put more snow on top, but the magic really happens when you put the pastel on the paper, because right now, like I said, probably looks like a bunch of nothing. This is what it looks like I just did on colorful paper. Now let's see the fun part about the paint. We just learned that sky color can be any color. So I really do not care what color you choose for your sky. You can start with something that's darker if you want by mixing a dark black with another color to make a shade. You can stick with just the warm colors or the cool colors on your picture. You can do 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel to get analogous colors. As long as your colors are next to each other, they will blend beautifully. I think I'm going to do like a whole sunsetty kind of thing. So I'm gonna start by getting my purple, and I wanna load up on this color. And the trick is to have a lot of water. So the more water I have on my brush, the more water I have in my paint palette, the better this is gonna work. And I'm gonna take my color, and just starting, I'm gonna paint. Anything that was pastel, notice the paint will not cover, as long as I have pushed hard and have a lot of water on my brush. What I also like to do when I am painting is I wanna load up, but I'm gonna leave some spaces where I am letting the sky be a little bit white for now, because I'll come back in with another color. Now, if I follow my color wheel, purple is next to blue or red on the color wheel. I think I'm gonna go to that red side. Again, load up my color, get a lot of water in my tray, and then I'll start painting with the red, and then bringing that red up into the purple. The 2 colors will overlap and make what's called a tertiary color. So you can see how it's starting to be a little version of that sunset. And those white spaces that I left, I'm trying to fill those in with the red now, so that the color looks like it's slowly changing. And all these little white spots you're seeing are my pastel marks. As I move down my paper into the plain red where it's not mixing, I'm gonna get ready for another color change. This time, I'm gonna go follow the color wheel. Next in the order of the color wheel would be my orange. So orange, again, is one of those lighter colors, so you really need to pet the color quite a bit to get it to show up and paint with it. And I'm gonna bring that red and that orange together where they overlap to make a tertiary reddish orange. And you can see it's starting to look like a beautiful sunset in my picture. You're gonna keep repeating this process, and you can make these colors sections as wide as you want. If you wanna make one color, you really can, as long as you're making a sky color. The only color I have never seen the sky be in real life is green. But you know what? It's an artist sky. It can be whatever colors you want. If you really like green, use green. So my last color is my yellow. Now yellow again is one of those lighter pigments. So really paint with that all the way down. You want to go down to your ground line, and you'll notice your ground line because you have a harder time painting and your brush feels like it's resisting. That's okay. Now we want to make the reflection, so we're going to go a little bit backwards. Over top of your pastel, you'll see if you start with some yellow, it will bead up and the paint will only go into the white spaces. Since I have orange in my sky, it's okay if I paint over my white with my orange as well. I'm gonna go back and get some of my red and some of my purple to complete that sunset kind of reflection thing happening in my sky. These little droplets will go away because only the paint's going where I need it to be. If you're really worried about them, you can take a piece of a paper towel and just blot those up. And you'll see that the paint only soaked in to the parts where I didn't press hard, and it looks like the snow is reflecting. And right now, I have some snow on the ground and a beautiful sky color with fallen snow. We will add more details when the paint dries next time.